Thanks. And now we have to show up again with 80 to 90% voter turnout in the midterms and fortify the red wall for the next decade. That's what we need to do. But at the same time, you have people out there who are actively trying to tear this country apart. They love to start fights, dividing us all against each other, spreading negativity, all to get clicks and influence the algorithm to maximize profits. Meanwhile, building is hard. Getting out the vote, talking to real people, spiritual revival, that's actual work. That is actual work. And my husband, Charlie, gave his life for that work. And what gets built lasts for generations long after the noise has run out of one-liners. No one understands this better than President Trump. No one. No matter what they throw at him, he perseveres in the face of adversity because the mission is too important. Because this country is worth fighting for, and he is not alone in this fight. And we are blessed to be Americans, and we are going to fight like it. And ladies and gentlemen, there is no one else I'd rather have on our side than President Donald J. Trump. God bless you guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am officially running for President of the United States.
She walked onto that stage in Phoenix and something shifted. Not just in the room, online, across the conservative movement, across the political internet. People watched the same clip and came to the same conclusion almost simultaneously. And nobody waited for an official announcement to say it. Video of Erika Kirk speaking from a lectern styled with the U.S. seal prompted claims on X that she was soft-launching a future White House campaign. One user wrote, "Erika Kirk is running for president in 2028. That's what all of this is about. This is a soft launch. That's why this is important. No announcement, no exploratory committee, no campaign branding. Just a widow from a pageant background who buried her husband 7 months ago, standing at a presidential-looking podium, introducing the President of the United States while talking about a decade-long political project. And an entire online movement deciding they just watched an audition. Is she running? Nobody knows. But the fact that millions of people looked at the same 5 minutes of footage and reached the same conclusion, that is the story, and it deserves a serious look. Welcome to the Marquee Report. Let's break it all down. To understand why the Phoenix speech landed the way it did, you need to understand who Erika Kirk was before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Until this weekend, she had been better known in political circles as Charlie's partner in activism, and more generally for her earlier life in pageantry, faith-based initiatives, and conservative media. She holds a bachelor's degree in political science and international relations from Arizona State University, a Juris Master degree in American Legal Studies from Liberty University, and is currently pursuing a doctorate in biblical studies from Liberty University. Her public work has focused largely on political advocacy, faith-based speaking engagements, and beauty pageants. That is the biography of someone who existed in the supporting cast of a much larger story. She was Charlie Kirk's wife. She appeared at events. She was present. She was visible. But she was not the person the cameras were pointed at. She was not the one giving the speeches that moved the crowd. She was not the one with the platform. And then Charlie was shot and killed at a campus event in Utah in September 2025. And everything changed. Within weeks, she was named CEO and chair of Turning Point USA. Within months, she was appearing in the Oval Office at TPUSA summits, on stage with the Vice President, and now, in Phoenix, introducing the President of the United States at a rally with 3,000 people. A woman long seen at the edge of the frame is now standing directly in front of the camera. The question that the internet asked this weekend, loudly and immediately, is whether she intends to stay there. Let's look at what she actually said, because the words matter as much as the visual. Kirk does not sound like a mere warm-up act. She calls on Republicans to deliver 80 to 90% voter turnout in the midterms and to fortify the red wall for the next decade. That kind of timescale is the language of long-haul political organizing rather than casual volunteering. A decade. Not this election, not this cycle, a decade. That is not the language of a surrogate warming up a crowd. That is the language of someone who sees herself as part of a project that extends well beyond any single candidate or any single year. She frames conservative organizing as hard, unglamorous work compared with online theatrics, saying, at the same time, you have people out there who are actively trying to tear this country apart. They love to start fights, dividing us all against each other, spreading negativity, all to get clicks and influence the algorithm to maximize profits. Meanwhile, building is hard, getting out the vote, talking to real people's spiritual revival. That is actual work. Now read between those lines. She is drawing a contrast between people who fight online for attention, an unmistakable reference to Candace Owens and every critic who has spent months attacking her credibility, and people who do the actual unglamorous work of building a political movement. She is positioning herself not as a controversial figure, but as a serious one. Not as a widow reacting to attacks, but as a leader who has already moved past them. She also places Trump firmly on her side, saying, no matter what they throw at him, he perseveres in the face of adversity because the mission is too important. Because this country is worth fighting for, and he is not alone in this fight. Those are not the cautious words of someone keeping distance from Trumpism. They are full-throated movement-first talking points that place her squarely inside the populist wing of the Republican Party. So what exactly is a soft launch? And why did so many people apply that term to what happened in Phoenix? In marketing and politics, a soft launch is when you begin building the infrastructure and public awareness for something before officially announcing it. You create the visual, you establish the brand. You let the audience come to the conclusion themselves. Then, when the formal announcement comes, it feels inevitable rather than surprising. The Phoenix speech had every element of a soft launch. The setting, a lectern bearing the U.S. seal at a major political rally. The content, decade-long vision language about electoral strategy and national purpose. The positioning, standing next to the sitting president, while being treated as his equal on that stage. The audience, 3,000 people at a nationally covered event. The timing, just days after a major controversy that she appeared to have survived and emerged stronger from. Erika Kirk, in her speech at America Fest last year, vowed to build the Red Wall in Arizona, Nevada, and New Mexico in the 2026 midterms. She said the organization is locked in and mission-focused for both 2026 and 2028. 2026 and 2028. She said that herself. The midterms, and then the presidential cycle. If you are planning for 2028 as an organization and you are the CEO of that organization, the most natural extension of that planning is a candidate. And the most natural candidate for a movement built around Charlie Kirk's legacy is the person who carries that legacy most visibly, his widow. Let's be clear about what the evidence actually shows, because speculation and reality are different things. No documentation has surfaced to support the claims. There has been no announcement from Erika, no exploratory committee, and no campaign branding. Turning Point USA has not confirmed any plan for her to run. For now, all talk of a 2028 presidential bid remains online conjecture and should be treated with caution. That is important. Everything about a 2028 run is currently speculation. Viral speculation, but speculation. But here is what is not speculation. The trajectory of the last 7 months. Starting from a grieving widow who stepped into her husband's organization out of what appeared to be necessity, and arriving at a woman who stood on a stage in Phoenix next to the president and sounded like she had been doing this her entire life. She endorsed J.D. Vance for 2028 at the Phoenix event, which on the surface closes the door on a presidential run of her own. You do not endorse someone for the presidency you are planning to contest. But in the world of political positioning, an early endorsement can also be a relationship-building move. It signals loyalty, it banks goodwill, It keeps options open in a way that opposition never could. If she is thinking about 2028 and there is no evidence she is, endorsing Vance now is not inconsistent with a longer game. It is what a patient and strategic political mind would do. And here is the most revealing part of the Phoenix story. And it is not what Erika said, it is how the movement responded. The online right did not wait for her to declare anything. They declared it for her. Within hours of the speech clip circulating, before any journalist had filed a story about a potential run, the speculation was already self-sustaining. People were posting the video as evidence, creating their own narrative, imagining what her campaign logo might look like. That kind of organic movement tells you something real about the appetite inside the conservative base right now. There is a faction, significant in size, if not yet decisive in power, that wants Erika Kirk to be something larger than a TPUSA CEO. They want her to be a candidate, a symbol, a continuation of what Charlie built, but in a form that can reach the highest office in the country. Whether she feeds that appetite deliberately, or manages it carefully, or distances herself from it entirely, that choice is coming. And the way she handles the soft launch narrative in the coming weeks will tell you more about her actual intentions than any speech she gives from any podium. Here is where everything stands right now. Erika Kirk spoke in Phoenix on Friday. The internet decided she was running for president. No announcement has been made. No campaign exists. Everything is conjecture. But conjecture has a way of becoming reality when the conditions are right, when the movement has an appetite, when the visual is compelling, when the timing creates a vacuum that needs filling. Like 7 months ago, Erika Kirk was standing at the edge of the frame. This weekend, she was in the center of it, with the president, on a stage that looked presidential, saying words that sounded presidential, to a crowd that treated her that way. Whether that was deliberate or organic, whether there is a plan or just a moment that got away from everyone, is something only Erika Kirk knows. And she is not saying. This has been the Marquee Report, serious detailed coverage of the stories shaping the world right now. Subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss what comes next. See you on the next one.